Hi guys, it's Finn. I am going to be talking about how I organize my OC lore, how I started with it, and how I get inspiration for my ideas. A little side note, I'm sorry if I'm really sad. In today's video, I lost 8 weeks worth of work for both of my modules, and I have to completely start from scratch. And I'm convinced my teacher hates me. He's like, you need to catch up, and I'm like, I know. And I've spent like the entire day crying because I've been so distraught over it. My credentials. I recently started a physical folder because mentally it feels better for me. So, my physical folder. And I actually went kind of viral on TikTok. I got like 350,000 views. Oh my god. I had a lot of people asking me, how do you organize it? How did you come up with ideas? So that's what today is all about. My quick list. The first thing is hierarchy. If you're gonna start off with characters, I recommend talking about the different kinds of characters. So obviously this kind of depends on the type of world that you're making, but for me, I have a god, I have deities, I have soldiers, and I have like regular humans. So you can also then further split this down into kind of like I don't know whether you'd describe it as factions or jobs. Splitting it down into politics, so you could do kings, queens, princesses, and you could also do like, so I have like sky pirates, which they're in airships, and I have these things called sky harvesters, which they basically go around in ships and collect up the shooting stars, because chunks of shooting stars is the currency. So, and then the sky pirates steal from them. The next thing is continents. So for me, I like to keep it very simple. Don't worry too much about specific little villages and towns, just having general continents. So we have Europe. Sorry, my mom messaged me. We have Europe and North America and Asia as like very broad, very broad terms for our continents. For me, mine is split up into 5 different parts, one for each element. So the next thing is how magic works. If there is magic in your world, I feel like it needs to make some sort of sense. So it's just about where does it come from. So if you're understanding it from an energy point of view, energy doesn't come from anywhere. So as an example, heat is often created by friction. So if you want to have a more realistic perspective on power and magic, you could look into how these sorts of things are created in our physics. So as an example, for me, my magic either comes from the planet, the god, or the elements. And if it is separate from that, it is part of something called the beyond, which is kind of like an astral plane, kind of. It's something that is separate from the universe. It's just something that you should probably consider. And then the other thing is how the battle is running, which doesn't make a lot of sense now that I've written it down. So for me, there's a war going on, and you have to think about the realism of a war. I'm not gonna get into the specifics, but as an example, if you have some almighty being that's coming down and like, fighting everyone, then you're gonna come up with some sort of means to try and destroy it or try and take it out. So as an example from me, there are 2 different routes that are, one's ethical-ish, the other one isn't. So there's 5 different phases of soldiers that are based on the 5 different continents and the 5 different elements. One of them are called light seekers, which are kind of like angels in a way, and they have wings, so they're based on the air region, the air continent. And the lambkin, which are my humans, they made what are called luminosity soldiers, which are regular lambkin who use man-made mechanical wings to try and fight back against the light seekers. Some of the light seekers get captured and experimented on, and they get their wings taken off. And that's where you have mecha angels, which are light seekers who had their wings stripped from them and decided to use Lambkin's technology, mecha wings, to try and gain back that sense of self. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, because divinity has this idea, divinity's the god of the world, has this idea that they gave you your pure body, your holy body, your divine body. If you change that, you're cast out. No more divine knowledge, because all the soldiers have some sort of divine knowledge from divinity. No more of that. No more. And you're cast out, and you're a mecha angel. You're nothing, right? This is under the classification of puppets. So puppets are types of characters that use man-made material in replacement for their divine body, instead of in addition. If it's in addition, then it's fine. If it's in replacement, then it's not, and you're a puppet. And mecha angels fall under the puppet bracket. They had their light seeker title stripped from them, and they are now a puppet. And then you also have like the unethical side of how to fight the light seekers, which was a project called the Eclipse Project, created by the Moon Company politics people. I can't remember what it stands for. It's like Ministry of something. I can't remember what I called it. And the Eclipse Project is basically, they take lambkin, they experiment on them, they mix their DNA with bird DNA to give them the wings, and they end up these weird, like, chimera type of characters, and it's like a more unethical thing. The basic thing is just to think about the realism of it. I know it's fantasy, but you have to think about how these things would affect the real world. If you have some insane soldier that's coming down, you're not gonna just sit there and take it while they like murder your family. You're gonna try and create ways to take them out, even if it is unethical, even if it is messed up. For me, I like to make sure that every question is answered in any way. So, like, some of my characters have the ability to shapeshift, and it's kind of random. It's kind of random who gets that ability. And so I created this plane called the Beyond, which is just kind of sentient in a way, and it just gifts this power out to who they think is worthy. It's separate from divinity. Divinity can't control it. The world can't control it. You know, the elements, it's not part of the elements. And it was this way of like explaining why certain characters could shapeshift and other characters couldn't. Because having elemental powers makes sense. So the soldiers, they have powers based on the region that they're from, the continent that they're from. And this is because they were made from stardust, as all creatures are in my world. But they're also made from the animals, like the bones of animals that lived in that continent. So it would make sense for them to have the powers of the creatures that had to thrive and had to live in this continent that was based around air and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. Another thing is to consider calendars, how you're going to change the calendar, if you're going to change the calendar. For me, I have a star calendar. So in case you didn't know, certain constellations are brighter in the sky at certain times of year. So my characters, there is a zodiac that was created for the celestials, and it's called the Norio zodiac because it was made by Orion, who is the space celestial. So it makes sense that he drew the constellations in the sky. The constellations, you can only see them at certain times of the year, so each of the months are named after the zodiac constellation that you can see in the sky. You can also consider different weekdays, if you want more, or if you want less, or if you want the exact same, or if you want to change the number of hours. So for me, the number of days I have in a year is 240, and I can whip it up. I can whip it up. Days in the first month is 44, and then 24, and then 48, 44, and then 88. Why 2 4s and 8s? My birthday is the 8th of the 8th, 2004. That's literally the only reason. The months, the zodiac, is, I'm pretty sure I changed it to Latin or something. So each of the animals that the celestials can shapeshift into, just change the animal name into Latin. So the space celestial, the Orion, responsible for space and stars, lambkin are made from stars, and Orion can transform into a lamb. Crazy, because they're connected. So what else can I tell you? Another thing is I created this thing called the harvest. Basically, it's the celestials are celebrated, and depending on how well they are celebrated, depends on how much energy they put back into the earth, because they control the elements. And it's like, do you deserve my power? Blah blah blah. I also have this thing called the major arcane. Arcane reference. Basically, there's this thing called arcane cards, like the major arcane. Anyway, it's a thing in tarot cards, the major arcane, that is a certain the main cards in a tarot card pack, and each major event being in my story has their own tarot card, which is called an arcane card, and it is always able to be flipped because every being is capable of change. So, and it's just kind of like a separate descriptor for their personality. Why? Because it's fun. Because I wanted to. So as an example, Divinity, who is the god of the world, has the tower in the upright position currently as their card, as their arcane card. And in case you didn't know, so I'm not religious. I just like writing about gods and stuff, and I like tarot cards. I think they're cool. I actually have some. One sec. I have these two different ones. This one and this one. This one's an animal one. This one's just a regular schmegular one. Well, not regular because it's like more stylized, but this one I got off of my aunt. She's not really an aunt. She's not really an aunt. it's like she's my mom's friend, and for some reason we call our mom's friends aunts even if they're not related to us. She's really sweet though, or at least I thought she was. Anyway, so the tower, in case you didn't know, the tower represents change in the most, I'm reading this by the way, in the most radical and momentous sense. It is for the reason the card itself is so unnerving visually. It represents sudden and profound change, upheaval and challenges of the unexpected, chaos and destruction. The tower card in tarot is the breakdown of old structures, beliefs, and ways of thinking. It indicates a shocking and unavoidable event that can shake the very foundation of one's life. It could imply that something new can be built from the ruins of the old. Just when someone thinks they are safe and comfortable, a tower moment will hit and throw you off course. A lightning bolt of clarity, insights, cuts through the freshly sharpened blade, slicing through the lies and illusions you have been telling yourself. The truth coming to light. Your world may come down crashing before you in ways you could never have imagined, as you realize the harsh truth. As you realize the harsh truth that you have been building your life on unstable foundations. False assumptions, mistruths, illusions, blatant lies. You are now questioning what's real and what's not. You can rely only on what you cannot trust. It's confusing, disorienting, your core beliefs challenged. Let this structure self-destruct so you can rebuild and refocus. You have no choice but to surrender to the destruction and chaos, no matter how unwanted or unpainful. And that's what the Tower card means. It's a bit dramatic, but still. And I feel like the Tower really represents divinity in both its upright and its reversed form. It represents change. It represents being forced to go through change, really. It represents kind of lies. And I think, yes. You also have relating your characters to animals. So for me, I like to do this when they can shapeshift into animals, but you can just do this generally. Look at the symbolism of certain animals and use that as a personality for your characters. I saw this video a while ago of why we see rabbits in horror movies and why we think of them as like really, really scary compared to something else. And basically it's this idea that something really cute and something really sweet actually ending up being really awful and, really messed up hurts us so much more because it's unexpected. It plays into this idea of your attractiveness, like hinting at your morality, even though that isn't true at all. So for me, divinity represents the rabbit, and they can transform into a rabbit. So you can also use colors as an option for further understanding your character, looking at the symbolism of different colors. So divinity represents the color red, which is quite often symbolizing passion and energy and sometimes love, but equally anger and blood. And I think that the duality of that color really represents divinity, because divinity, despite being a god, they're not good or bad, which I think is really human in a way, which is funny and ironic. Another thing is creating a language. You don't have to do this. How I did it is I just made like symbols for each of the alphabet, and I did it in constellations. Now on to how I get my ideas. Where do you get your ideas from? Very simply, I get my ideas from the world around me and my research. So to start, my lambkin are made from stardust. In case you don't know, in actual science, we are made from stardust. That's where I got that from. Light seekers are, I wouldn't say they're blind, but they're incredibly sensitive to light because they're made from animal bones, and the lambkin in the air continent thought that if they slashed the eyes of the animals before they killed them, then divinity wouldn't see their sins, because divinity is like a big eyeball. And then the light seekers were made from those bones as well as stardust, so they ended up having really, really sensitive eyes. So usually they have their eyes closed. And I watch a lot of ASMR, and one of my favorite things is light triggers, which basically they just shine a light on the screen in your eyeballs. And if you close your eyes, you can still see light behind them. So light seekers, despite having really, really sensitive eyes, they will close their eyes and they will be able to see where the light is to be able to move, and that's how they navigate. Therefore, light seekers. And the seekers part is from Transformers, because I love Transformers. And the seekers is a 3-group core. Well, there's a lot of different seekers, but the favorite ones are 3. They're basically just Jets and Starscream. That one is my favorite, and he is a seeker. Light seekers. And then the time that I went with, the Norio zodiac is just Orion backwards, and then each month is called Honorio because the month is named after the Celestials. I got the idea for Celestials based on like D&D, because there's lots of different gods that represent different things. So one of them represents like tranquil seas or something in the ocean. Like it grants people on ships calm oceans. So I had the idea. I originally had a lot more, but I ended up going down to 5 because it was a bit overwhelming for me. And then I'm trying to think of what else. I got my ideas for the wings on the characters, on the Light Seekers from Sunday and Robin from Honkai Star Rail. I got the idea for my character Moonrage from the game Honkai Star Rail, and the part that says Moonrage. A lot of my characters' names are based on the Greek gods, like mini Greek gods or princesses. So one of my characters is called Clytemnestra, who I can't remember. I did this research ages ago. I can't remember. And then looking at the symbolism of the elements themselves. So I looked at the symbolism of fire and what that meant. And what I love is duality in characters. The idea of fire. You could have burning love and fiery passion, but at the same time, it's like describing something. Like love is so gentle and so like docile, but fire is so like destructive, and those two opposing is so, oh, I love it. I get a lot of my inspiration from Pinterest. I do a lot of my research on like projects, and then I end up using that in my work, in my stuff. Also, lyrics. There's literally a part in my story. It says Jaws of Fate. I got that from Sleep Token. I recommend having a little prologue. A little prologue. So for me, I have a prologue just explaining the creation of the earth and then how the war started. Like, why did it start? Because you can't just have a war and then it have to be like, why did the war start? The biggest question you could ever ask yourself in world building, in my humble opinion, is why? Because if there's no explanation, then you're not selling me. So as an example, in my story, divinity, it creates all these soldiers to wipe out the lambkin because divinity sees them as like broken, like ruined. But the question is, if divinity is this all-powerful god, then why wouldn't they just kill all the lambkin? They have the power to do it. The reason is because divinity wants them to know what they did wrong. Divinity wants them to suffer. Divinity just wants to play a little game. If you've ever had it where somebody's upset you for whatever reason, like really, really badly, and you're like, I just want you to feel the same way that I felt. Like, I want you to go through the same things that I felt so you know how I felt. But you wouldn't like want them to die because that would be almost mercy in a way. Like, no, you deserve to live through everything and suffer. Maybe I'm just an asshole, I promise. I don't wish this on anyone. I actually am quite a forgiving person. I don't hate anyone because why would I? I don't want to waste my time with that. I don't care. Your actions reflect on you. They don't reflect on me. So if you were an asshole to me, that just says more about you. I sound like my mom. But the biggest thing is just having an explanation why for everything. Also looking at currency. So for me, the currency, as I mentioned before, is shooting stars, which is measured kind of like gold. Like the heavier it is, the more the more value in it. And, you know, as a result of this, there's sky harvesters who are kind of like miners but in the sky. Miners? No. And then you have sky pirates who steal from them. So it's like looking at the knock-on effect of how everything would affect your world rather than just going, this is my currency. It's also a thing of shooting stars because the lambkin see they're made from stardust, so they see shooting stars as kind of like their ancestors or their loved ones' souls, so they put value in it. It's all about making those little connections. I love when I'm talking about this as if I have any idea what I know. What I know, I don't know. Obviously, there's plenty of things that I've changed over time. Like, I don't settle on... I settle on an idea when I know that it's right, which sounds stupid, but like, it's like with a name for a character. The more I say it, the more I get used to it, the more I go, that's your name. But with other characters, it doesn't come as easily. Don't like pressure yourself and be like, I need to have everything and it needs to be perfect and I can never change it. It's fine. Just add a little sticky note and just say, I changed this, LOL. Go to this page. It's that easy. It's that easy. I changed the name of my currency from moonshine to essence, and all I did was put a little sticky note over the top of it and written over it essence. It's not difficult to change it and to like adjust it if you decide to change what you're doing. There used to be two different kinds of light seekers, where one of them was made from stardust and the other one was made from animal bones. And the stardust ones looked like angels and the animal bones ones looked like birds. But I changed this into the Eclipse Project and then Light Seekers and had them be separate. I also have, so like the year, what's the year called? The years are called cycles, which I got from Transformers. Also, a lot of the names for things for me is just either Google Translate or thesaurus. A thesaurus, in case you don't know, is basically taking words and then looking at what the similar word is. So I was trying to find a word to describe drowning in oil. I didn't end up finding it, sadly, but my idea was, you know those bird traps that are in like oil, like they're like petrol. And if you drown in oil, it's different from drowning in water because water is quite thin versus oil is thicker. So it's like it's suffocate. I couldn't find a word for it, sadly. It's just drowning. But I ended up coming up with the name smudgers, which are the beings created from the Eclipse project. I also have automaton, which I think is a kind of doll, if I'm right. Pretty sure it's a kind of doll. And this is what I mean when I say that I change things. The whole thing of, oh, the character is called a puppet if they're not made from, if they use man-made object in replacement for their divine body. I called it automaton, which is fine. I'll go with either of them, I don't really care. And that includes like cyborgs and stuff like that. And the names for my continents are just Google Translate. Like, think Asteria is just star. I can't even pronounce most of them, honestly. Sometimes I give some of my characters multiple of the tarot cards if I feel like they need it. So one of my characters has the Justice card upright and then the Sun upright. The Justice just means like it kind of is self-explanatory. You want things done right, you know? And then the Sun, one of the key points that I really liked about the Sun is the Sun is coming and will shine its light on the deceit to reveal the truth and perpetuators of lies. I thought that was really cool, and I was like, yeah. Another thing is just looking at things that you like don't be afraid to nick from the things that you like. This was 35 minutes long. I think that's all I really have as far as advice. I'm sorry if it's more soft-spoken, as usual. It is, I would look at my watch, but my watch broke. It is like 6 p.m. or something. I think it's 9. Hello? I think it's 9. I love how I'm looking at my Switch as if it's gonna tell me what the time is. Like, as if I don't time skip on Animal Crossing constantly. I do tell you one thing. I managed to get, hear me out, all of the octopi on my island. I know that I just lost like 8 weeks worth of work for both of my modules and my teacher hates me, but 4 octopi on the island. The time is 22:08. We can have a little ramble. If you want. I got many views on my video, and I'm kind of mad because I didn't get many followers from it, and I'm like, what? Come on. And then I woke up and I had this like shit fit because I didn't have any of my work because I permanently deleted it because I was running out of space and I accidentally deleted the wrong files. And it was gone. I didn't realize, and there is no way of getting it back. Luckily, I had some research pages saved, and most of my artwork was saved, but that's only for one module. The other module, all the research pages are gone. And my teacher was like, you know, you'll be really lucky if you can catch up, and you have all this work to do, and you need to just do the bare minimum to scrape by. And I'm like, aren't you encouraging? Like, Jesus Christ. not a very, I don't know, I don't think he likes me much, but I don't think anyone likes me much. I think I just overthink every social interaction that I have. I also, like, kind of on new meds, so it's messing with my brain. But I was bawling my eyes out and I couldn't get hold of anyone from the uni. I ended up talking to this woman and I was sat in front of her and I'm like, oh. And she's like, what do you expect me to do for you? Because I keep on getting told by the uni, basically, because I've been really ill and I've been in the hospital a lot, which is why I'm so behind on work, and then I lost my work. And I've been telling the uni, like, when I'm not coming in and stuff like that. And they've been like, you're doing all the right things because you're telling us when you're not going to be in. And you've been ill, so there's nothing that you could have done differently. And I'm like, okay. But equally, my teachers are really mean to me. And I'm like, I'm gonna kill myself. Please just be nice to me. I can't take it. I don't expect them to, like, kiss my ass, but no. I'm just not really having the best time at the moment. But I would say it can only get better from here, but I feel like I might jinx it and something really bad might happen. But I think I might buy myself something silly tomorrow because I have the money for it, so it's not, I'm not sure what though. First world problems. I'm not sure what. My mom said, she was like, I'm really proud of you though for going to your lesson. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I missed 2 of my lessons because I was in all these meetings bawling my eyes out. And she's like, yeah, but after that, you went to your lesson, you went to your final lesson. And I was like, yeah, I did go to my final. And she's like, I'm really proud of you because, like, if it was a couple of months ago, you would have just not gone at all to lesson. Like, you would have stayed inside and rightfully gotten upset about it, but you would have just not gone. And versus now, you went. And I was like, yes I did. Yes, I did. So I guess I'm proud of myself for that as well. I also spoke to somebody in my class today. They were like, how are you? And I think I thought they asked me, what am I doing or something? So I said, I'm standing outside the class. And this is another person I'm convinced hates me. So, like, and they were like, no, I asked, how are you? And I was like, am I supposed to answer truthfully, or is this just casual conversation? Because when someone asks you, how are you doing? I'm like, am I actually supposed to tell you the truth? I don't know. What is the social etiquette? So I was like, I lost all my work for both of my modules, and I watched him just kind of awkwardly stand there and be like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said it. Like, why did I say that? I just made everyone feel really awkward and weird. And then when my teacher came around, I was like, oh, I kind of ballsed up a bit. I made a big mistake. Catastrophe. It's like, what? It's like, oh, I lost all my work. But I did it. I redid it all because I had all the artwork. I just needed to, like, put it all down and then do the explanations and stuff. But the other project is an entirely different story. It's just so mean. Anyway, here's my island. You see, okay? You see how I have the 4 octopi? I also have Sparrow, who I think is really funny looking. The only guy I don't like is Coach, because I'm... Anyway, I'm gonna go, and I'll show you the moon first. Because it's a little moon. See? I said in the last video I didn't want to go crazy with terraforming, and I just kind of wanted to keep it chill. And the next day I rock up and I'm like, guys, look at my moon pond, and it's surrounded by all the different houses. It's really cute though. It's really cute. I still need to kind of decorate a bit. Because most of it's just like flowers and stuff, which is fine. It's fine. But it's not like super cool. I also have a little work in progress. Can I go this way? Rainbow flower field that I'm working in the progress. I could check and see how many stars I have. This is like getting close to an hour-long video. Me and my 30 viewers. We'll see. We'll see what my star level is. Last time, it was 4 stars. Like, I skipped 3 stars and went straight to 4 stars. And they were like, KK Slider's going onto your eye. And I was like, what? I didn't even do anything. Let's see. 4-star rating, man. 4 stars. My favorite villager? I don't have a favorite villager. I like Sucker. Sucker's so cute. And I like, what is he called? Cephalobot. I always say it wrong. And I like Octavian. I really want, what's he called? Kabuki? I really want Kabuki. I love the kind of weird looking ones. And you wonder why. Oh, I also have some drawings to show you. You guys have already seen these pages. And this one. It's a bit, like, if I did it like that, it looks nicer than this, because the perspective's a bit. I did these. I really like the noses. I like how I did the noses. Like having the nose bridge, I thought that looked really cool. And this is the other one. It's supposed to be like a bug. That's why it looks like that. And that's my Orion redesign. Because one of my OCs, one of my mutuals has an OC called Orion. And I was inspired by Pure Vanilla, which is why he has the star on his head. But it kind of looks like their OC, and I was like, I don't wanna come across like I'm stealing. So I made him look more like a lamb, because he is the space celestial, and you link him to the lambkin. And I also made the star in the front of his head partially an eyeball to represent divinity, because divinity is always watching. Like Big Brother was just divinity. Anyway, I'm taking a break tomorrow because I have worked incessantly today. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. I have ice cream. I have ice cream in the freezer, and I'm really thirsty, so I'm gonna get some tea. I would say good night, but I'm probably not gonna go to bed for a while. But good night. I hope this video was partially useful.